Previously on Mass Effect.
Man, space chicks are so thirsty. Alright, so I sold a few things. The pistols, and these are the HMWSRs, are like some of the best equipment, like master gear. I'm tempted between the pistol and the shotgun. I think the shotgun's going to do tons of damage, but honestly I think the pistol is like the most reliable weapon in this game. So I'm thinking of getting the best pistol. It's not that expensive, but I could afford the shotgun as well. Accuracy and damage are unmatched. Let's go for the shotgun. I don't often go for the shotgun. And I got the cash for it, and I just make it. So, alright, now that I've got the big boy shotgun, let's continue with a conversation with the crew.
Commander, good to see you.
Good to see you, Garrus.
Been a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
No doubt. Anything specific?
I bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
Bet you
I
have.
remember this Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
Disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating him?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I wanted. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
Is this common?
You've seen this before on the Citadel?
Every so often, some lab sells unwanted parts through the black market, but they're not as bad as the cycles. I remember this one L-Corps diplomat we caught in my first year on the job. He was hacking people up and selling their organs, had the station in a bit of a panic. But this case wasn't that clear-cut. Turns out there was more going on than we first realized.
What did you find?
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
Krogan testicle?
You're kidding, right? Why would anyone want Krogan testicles?
Some Krogan believe that testicle transplants can increase their virility, counteract the effects of the genophage. It doesn't work, but that doesn't stop them from buying. They'll pay up to 10,000 credits each. That's 40,000 for a full set. Somebody's making a killing out there.
A full set? 4 testicles? Oh, jeez. Oh, Krogans are intimidating.
What'd you do about the geneticist?
What about the doctor?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
Interviewing, eh? Smart.
Good thinking. Lackeys are always easier to scare.
Exactly. Though in this case it paid off in a different way. One of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes. Walking, living test tubes.
Interesting.
So he was growing spare parts in his own employees.
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
Did you interview
I
him?
hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Don't tell me that.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
They just let him get
But
away?
you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down.
Hmm.
CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. I just used them to make more organs. They wouldn't listen.
No
Idiots.
wonder you hated it there.
Should have shot the hell out of that
Just let it
ship.
Fly away.
Yes, they did. I went to Palin and told him what I thought of him.
They're
and his
already dead.
policies. He said if I didn't like it, I could quit. Well, I almost did. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
You were right.
A few casualties. is
I'm
a
always
start.
on your
It's
side,
okay to
Garrus.
Stop someone like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those hostages might be wishing they'd died by now anyway. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
Dr. Selen.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salian?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
Give it to
I'll
me.
check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's
It's
Salian,
me.
I want to be there when you find him.
Awesome. I love Garrus so much. He's probably my favourite character in this particular Mass Effect by a good breath. He's like a hardball detective, like in a lot of retrospects. There's a lot of that kind of inspiration for him. Sup, bitch?
Commander?
Can we talk?
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was just watching some mail from home.
Oh, before I go, we saw Caden in a news vid about the Normandy. He's cute. Later, sis.
Let's pretend this never happened.
Too late. Cadence, huh?
Are you interested in the lieutenant, Chief?
Fraternization is against regulations, ma'am. Don't ask, don't tell. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Mind your procedure. I didn't mean to. Tell me about your family. Yeah, let's be
Your
nice.
family seems to be
Let's be
important
nice
to
to
you.
the weird space
We've
hater.
always been close. Me and my sisters especially.
The human,
With Dad on duty so
the
much,
potential,
I had Mom raise them.
Cerberus member. That's something that I don't think they'd ever really go down. Like, really, she is a potential Cerberus member, but then she goes like nuts when you're in Cerberus, even though she shares a lot of their ideals. It's kind of interesting. You'd think she'd join you. She'd be one of the few that did. Sister, mom, dad. Sister?
You have more than one sister? Sounds like a big family.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, then Abby, then Lynn. Sarah's the youngest. She's still in high school. With 4 girls, Dad used to say he felt more outnumbered at home than on maneuvers.
Mom?
What about your mother? You haven't mentioned her.
You must know what military wives are like. Strong because they have to be, able to raise kids while Dad's away on a 6-month cruise. She has a degree in planetary geology. She and Dad both wanted to see new worlds. She gave up her career to raise us, though.
Wow, she sounded almost resentful about that.
Did your father serve with the fleet?
Yeah, took any crap posting he could get that offered space time. You know what? He worked his ass off trying to get recognized, but he never made it above serviceman 3rd class. He was real proud when I made Chief. First thing he did was salute.
Home?
Where did you grow up?
All over. We transferred a half a dozen times before I finished grade school. You go where personnel command sends you, right? I guess that's why I'm so tight with my sisters. We'd have to leave all our friends every 2 or 3 years.
You raised your sisters? Yes, charming. That's a bit weird. Yes, charming. You raised your sisters?
After helping raise them, your sisters still talk to you? Amazing.
Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Tell me about it.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobyl. Same cluster, but a dozen Hellwire away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
Silent chains. Boys, no control. Oh, boys, no control. Hey man, the girls are way more horny in this game than the boys, I'll tell you that right now.
Sounds like that situation didn't last.
Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
Police?
Why didn't you tell the police?
She said it wouldn't solve the real problem, and she and Mike would both become household names. It was a small colony. I said it was her call to make, that we should let her do it her way. Mom was pretty pissed about that.
You said all of your sisters learned self-defense?
Lynn did pistol practice, but didn't like it. She's kind of nervous. Sarah took Aikido. Abby decided to learn the sword. She always was a little weird. Likes big skirts and tops you have to tie her into. They do great things to her figure, though.
What about you?
So, what did you learn?
One of Dad's friends taught me Marine hand to hand.
What about Mike? Decide to T of you.
You traveled all the way home to walk your sister to school.
It was only a dozen light years, like a day's cruise. It's not like I was going to Earth or something. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
She hear him? Whoa.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a
Oh, that's a
puncher.
weird angle.
When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was going to end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
That was pointless. So rude. That was pointless. Interesting story. Where was your father?
Where was your father during this?
I'm always big in getting more details other than,
Dad always wanted to serve in space.
you know,
But he really
criticizing
has to
or
have real
complimenting
ground
stories.
under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family.
Even in real life.
I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone.
Poetic.
For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known. Cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
Bored now? You read poetry? Well, I guess these are all ending blocks.
I didn't know you liked classical literature.
Ulysses was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a
I'm
dozen
sure
versions.
that wasn't for Boeing. It's a good piece.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though.
Yeah, sure he is. Sarcastic kind of from the afterlife.
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
Why would that be a problem? It's a bit of a weird one. I do too. Keep it to yourself. Are you a fanatic? Not my place to judge. Of course not. I think my first reaction is of course not, but it's also like saying not my place to judge is very much my life mentality when it comes to anything like that. But yeah, so of course not.
Everyone has the right to believe what they want. Says so in the Alliance Charter, only with fancier words.
I'm glad you're open-minded about it. I've met a few people who are really weirded out by my faith. Because I work in space, I can't believe in a higher power? Jeez. Hello, have you people looked out the window? How can you look at this galaxy and not believe in something? I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
Can we talk? I'm pretty sure she's just going to end it there now.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
I should get back to my duty, Skipper. Rifles don't maintain themselves. Not yet, anyway. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
I know. Sisters of the Gun.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am?
Why did she say it like that? I still don't understand. Rex?
What do you want, Shepard?
Personal question. I just want
Why did
to...
you become a mercenary?
Does it feel nice when people
Watch
stroke your
the
skin?
reasons.
Elaborate. Like. Yes. These are like exactly the same. I like the blunt elaborate.
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
Why leave?
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
Really?
What happened?
Alexis is
I
so
was
funny
betrayed.
because you've either got end the conversation or
I
just
was head of a small
the one
tribe.
tact.
We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight. Turians, Solarians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
What about you?
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting. I wanted him to stop leading the tribes astray. But he couldn't understand how much things had changed. We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation. And for a while, we were getting through. Some of the tribes started coming around.
What about Jericho?
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes. A meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from, where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
And what went wrong? And you win? That's risky. They're kind of the same question, really.
Sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well, there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
Oh, okay. I completely forgot that Jero was his father.
Jared was your father?
He was. Until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal. His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly. I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left. And that's why I'll never go back.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
You trying to make me cry, Shepard?
Try to make me
I
cry.
have some unfinished business with my family. But that's all.
Go on.
What kind of business?
Before I left, I made an oath to my father's father. I swore to recover my family's battle armor. It was taken from him after the uprising.
Armor.
What's so important about this armor?
It's a relic. Useless, really. But it was worn by 5 generations of my family before the war. It's rightfully mine. Originally, it was taken by the Turian military. We weren't allowed armor or weapons after the war. Now, it's in the hands of Taun Actus, a Turian scum who collects relics from the war. He's made millions selling Krogan artifacts that were stolen from my people. He's got several bases where he stores his goods, all fortified and guarded. I just don't know which base has my family's armor.
I'll look into it.
Just tell me where to start looking.
I'll upload the data to your nav system. But Commander, I want to be there when you find him.
Understandable.
Are
Extinction.
your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
So,
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
Genophage is an interesting
What can you
subject,
tell
but I
me
think
about
it's
the
explored
genophage?
as much as you're going to get explored in this game.
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one, and no one's rushing to find a cure.
What?
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the
Krogan
last
justice.
time you saw a Krogan scientist? Ask a Krogan. Would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
I'll see you
So long,
around.
Rex.
Shepard.
There's another mission to add to our belt. I wonder if Tally will drop us a mission now too. Oh damn! That's some tight tight outfit on Tally. Actually, looking at it on this one, I think our next one's a little bit more conservative, but this one, damn.
Shepard, I'm glad you're here.
Glad you're feeling better. You seem happy. What's going on? You seem happy.
Good to see you smiling again, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping much better now. I guess I'm getting used to how quiet your ship is. I still think a lot about my pilgrimage, though. I know Steren's our top priority, but with all the worlds we go to, I was hoping to find something to bring back to the flotilla.
No, we were like, what? Is that why you're here? Like what?
What are you hoping to find?
Usually, people bring back something like a derelict ship we can use for salvage, but I need something bigger. There's a lot expected of me.
Why?
What's so special about you?
It's my father. He's the senior member of the Admiralty Board. He's one of only 5 people who can overrule the decisions of the Conclave for the good of the migrant fleet. My father is responsible for the lives of 17 million people. Our entire race is in his hands, and I'm his only child.
Your royalty? I guess that's kind of like... That's kind of a human... kind of familiation with that.
So are you some kind of heir to the Quarian throne or something?
No, it doesn't work that way. My father's position isn't hereditary. I'll probably never serve on the Admiralty Board myself. Officially, I'm just the same as any other citizen. But it doesn't work that way in practice. People have always treated me differently because of who my father is.
Governmental treatment?
You must get all kinds of special privileges.
I probably had it easier than most growing up, but it's not all good. People like my father have enemies, and they're not above using need to get to him.
I had no idea. That's a lot of pressure.
It must be tough on you.
My people place a high value on family and ancestry. There's an unspoken expectation that I'll live up to my father's example. Everyone's waiting for me to do something great on my pilgrimage, something that will forever change our lives for the better. If I don't, it's like I failed, and that reflects badly on both me and my father.
What if you saved the galaxy?
The work you're doing here is more important than anything any Quarian's ever done before.
Yes, I know. But you have to understand Quarian culture. We're a very insular society. The events beyond the flotilla don't much matter to the average citizen. Our greatest dream is that one day we'll return to our homeworld and drive out the Geth. But even if we stop Saren, that's not going to happen. There's still millions of Geth behind the veil. Until they're gone, our exile will continue.
I don't know, stay on my good side, maybe I'll help you out. So maybe I'll just, genocide a species for you. So what's the answer?
What would you need to bring back to make everyone happy?
Something that would help us better understand the Geth. They've changed significantly since the exile. They've continued to evolve. We've done our best to study them, but it's not easy. They're very reclusive. Until recently, they never went beyond the borders of the Veil.
I feel like
And
our
all the
battle
Geth we
right
run
now
into
will give you
are
that
under
information.
Saren's control. We'd need to find Geth operating on their own, independently. But I don't want this to get in the way of our mission, Shepard. First, we stop Saren. Then I'll worry about my own problems.
Oh, I've got the Tau Father
What
question
was your
here.
father like?
It wasn't easy growing up as the daughter of one of the Admiralty. Even before he joined the board, he was a prominent figure. People looked to him for leadership. He had to set an example, and he expected the same of his daughter. Plus, he was pretty strict, a military man through and through. He never allowed me to settle for anything less than excellence. As a kid, I sometimes felt like he was pushing me too hard. But now I'm old enough to appreciate what he taught me. The world doesn't owe us anything. If we want something in life, we have to earn it.
What about your mother?
Mother was around, but she always seemed to kind of blend into the background. Almost like she was overshadowed by my father. He tends to do that to people. She passed on about 5 years ago. Some airborne virus that swept through the fleet. Happens sometimes when the filters start to break down. I think my father took it pretty hard. After she was gone, he became even more focused on his work. I think that was his way of dealing with the grief.
That's a pretty nonchalant way to talk about your dead
Sounds
mother.
like a tough upbringing. You don't resent your father at all?
Like I said, it wasn't easy. My father's not the kind of person you bond with. And he wasn't around all that much. Too busy. People counted on him, and he took his duties seriously. Even when he was around, he always seemed a bit distant. Like his mind was always somewhere else. Come to think of it, I can't ever remember seeing him smile. Not once. It's like he was always weighed down by all that responsibility.
I guess when they're in their communal units,
I mean, I know he
they
cares
don't
about
have to
me,
wear
but
suits,
he never really showed it. Not in the usual
despite
way.
what we see
I
in the
guess
contrary in the
best
future.
thing I can say about my father is that I respect him.
Let's change
I want to
topic.
talk about something else.
Like what?
Goodbye.
I should go.
I was about myself
See you
leaving Neo, and then that's put the groundwork for at some point her to approach me and say, I found something of interest. Up we go. And that was pretty good. We've opened up some avenues. I could continue some of the story now and then come back to some of these later on. I'll see what pops up. I want to leave. I kind of want to do that lunar mission first, and then I might continue the story. Hey, thanks again for dropping by, everybody, and joining me on my space adventure, a simple box travelling through the galaxy. And yeah, if you want to leave a little comment or feedback or a little like, then I appreciate that. And have a great one. Bye, see you soon.